Chiefs fans, welcome into a brand new episode of the Chiefs Report, presented as always by Prize Picks. Guys, on today's show, we are going to be breaking down some of the biggest winners and losers from the Kansas City Chiefs week 2 of the preseason loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 16-15 last night. Kansas City, oh so close to bringing home their first win of the preseason. But a number of miscues late in this game end up keeping Kansas City from sealing the deal. We'll talk about a lot of that. Ultimately, and I've said this before about the preseason, I'll probably say it again next week, especially if the Chiefs lose. Outcomes just don't really matter that much. You know what I mean? Win or lose in a preseason game, and I'll make a little joke about especially if they lose, but win or lose in a preseason game, it just doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, that's not what we're focused on. What we are focused on is how the depth of this team looks, how the young guys on this team look, and how some of the position battles are starting to come together. So that's what I want to talk about on today's show. And speaking of position battles and really rooms where guys need to stand out, whether it's at the top, whether it's in the depth department, the edge room. And we had two guys stand out big time for me as far as getting after the passer goes. So even in a loss, I was really happy with that from the Kansas City Chiefs. Felix Anudike Uzomah. How about it, FAU? 5 pressures for FAU, a sack of Jake Browning that he will remember for a very long time. Yikes. Ouch. Probably the only 2 words for that third down sack FAU delivered to Jake Browning. One of those just hits you kind of feel bad for the QB on. But good for FAU to deliver it. You know, I think he needed it. I think he needed a moment like that, even though it's in the preseason. Even though, like I said, outcomes don't matter in these games. Those kind of moments matter a lot to guys. Those kind of moments can build your confidence going forward. And FAU needs his confidence built right now. After a couple of tough years, injuries have been a factor, but we've been told by this Chiefs staff he's healthier than he's ever been, and you're starting to see it on the field. It's starting to not just feel like coach speak when people talk about, hey, FAU might be someone to watch this year. FAU might be taking that step this year. 5 pressures in this game. He got a sack. But he was far from the only standout in the edge department. I want to talk about R. Mason Thomas, too, because R. Mason Thomas, man, he's going to be fun. Only 11 snaps for him, and he got 4 pressures. 11 snaps, 4 pressures. Nearly took one back. He almost had a pick 6. Jumps the route beautifully, or throw beautifully, really more accurately, kind of the route, too. Jumps up, grabs that ball, should have picked it. I think he knows he should have picked it, too. It was in his hands. He wanted that one bad and didn't end up coming away with it, but he shows you the burst, man. How quick was he there to break that up? How high in the air was he when he jumped? Like, he is an unbelievable athlete, and you're seeing that kind of body type that the Kansas City Chiefs needed as far as edge went. They need this fast dude. FAU is starting to have a little bit of it as well. How fast did he get to Jake Browning on that third down play? I know the Bucs starters weren't in, but I don't care. Man, that's speed. That is speed. That translates to the regular season. He was on Jake Browning in 2 seconds flat. R. Mason Thomas was up in the air in 2 seconds flat. That's the kind of speed you need come game day week 1 when we face the Broncos on September 14th. That is exactly the kind of energy that I want to see our edge room playing with. And it's what I didn't see far too many times last season. With just... it felt like we weren't winning. It felt like guys like Charles Omenihu who just were not playing with that kind of speed, that kind of burst, that kind of want to get home to the quarterback that you see from R. Mason, that you saw from FAU last night. And that gets me fired up because it feels like pass rush is not going to be the gigantic glaring issue for this team that it was last season. And that alone should have Chiefs fans fired up. But we got a couple other winners that I want to talk about from this game, and we will do so in just 1 second, guys. But before we do, I got to let you know about the sponsor of today's video, and that is the good people over at Prize Picks. Guys, football's back, baby. I know it's only the preseason, but I'm saying it. I am saying it. Football is back, and that means it is the perfect time to get back on the daily fantasy action with our friends over at PrizePicks, guys. The easiest way to play daily fantasy. It is super easy. All you got to do is pick from 2 to 6 players. You're selecting more or less on their stat projections, and you're locking in a daily fantasy lineup. They also have awesome social feeds features that allow you to tail or fade your friends or your favorite creators, so you can easily share your PrizePicks lineups. Whatever you think is going to cash, you can help your buddies cash out with you. And if you think I'm going to cash out on my lineups, you can tail them, you can fade them, whatever you want to do. Here is one that I've got rolling for the early action in week 1. I've got Sam Darnold. They gave a discounted pick on this, so I'm throwing it in all of my lineups. This one, all he needs to do is throw for 1 yard. That's going to happen, guys. So we've got that one. Christian McCaffrey, I think he gets in the end zone, so I went with the more on that. And then I've got Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua for that Rams-Niners game on Thursday. So those are the first 2 games of the season coming up. You guys can tail and fade me and try to go home with 48.75. Whatever you do, just do it with PrizePicks. And when you sign up for PrizePicks, if you're a brand new user, make sure you use the code HMA at sign up, because when you play your first $5 lineup and win, you can get $150 in bonus lineups. One more time, that's code HMA at sign up to get $150 in bonus lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. We always appreciate them. Let's get back, sit up here, to discussing the Chiefs winners and losers from week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because, we're far from over on that front. Mansoor Delane made his NFL debut, his NFL preseason debut, been dealing with that shoulder blade injury. I thought we might see him this week. I was a little bit 50-50 on the fence on that, and we finally see him. And honestly, what we saw as far as what he was actually doing on the defensive end was good. Pretty limited. He only had 11 snaps of actual defense, very similar to R. Mason. It feels like this guy's locked in as a starter. But what we did see was good stuff. Not targeted by Baker Mayfield or by Jake Browning. They did not throw his direction. It just felt like his coverage was good on every play. No one wanted to test him. And for a rookie, even though he's a highly drafted rookie, that's notable. You know what I mean? Usually you get a rookie out of there on the field, quarterbacks are going, let's see how this guy plays. Let's see if this guy's ready to hang at the NFL level. I'm going to throw one his direction. I'm just going to see how he does. You know what I mean? That did not happen with Mansoor Delane. So I think it kind of shows you there is a little bit more respect for him already amongst quarterbacks and the work that he was able to do at LSU, at Virginia Tech before that. These guys watch their tape. These guys know these guys coming into the league. They are not unaware of who Mansoor Delane is, and they already have a lot of respect for him at corner. Maybe Dave Toub needs to have a little bit more respect for him at corner, though. Laughing a little bit. Why is he playing on punt coverage? Why? Why is he playing on punt return? Why were 2 of his 13 total snaps on special teams duty? I know that if I asked this question to Dave Toub, his answer would be, that's because everybody works on special teams duty when they're early on in their careers as Kansas City Chiefs. It's what we do with everybody. It's our standard practice. It's the way we coach. Maybe that needs to change. You know what I mean? Maybe we need to do things a little differently, because our number 1 corner should not be working on special teams duty, even in the preseason, especially when he has been recovering from a shoulder blade injury for the last month. Why? Why take the risk? Why do that? I understand wanting to get him out there on defensive snaps. Sure, great. More, please. But special teams? No, man. That's not going to be Mansoor Delane's role come regular season time. That's not going to be Mansoor Delane's role. You don't use your number 1 corner as a special teams gunner. It just feels like poor asset management. I'm not going to lie. And that's not his fault. That has nothing to do with him other than doing his job. He did exactly what he was asked to go do. They told him, hey, Mansoor, you're going to go play punt coverage. He said, yeah, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do my job. So on his end, yeah, shows up and does exactly what he's supposed to do. What else are you going to do? But why is Dave Toub doing this? Why is Andy Reid okay with this? Why is Steve Spagnuolo okay with this? It should not happen. You should not have your 6th overall pick, the guy you traded up for who's dealt with injuries this offseason, working special teams duty. It's ridiculous. You got plenty of guys on this roster that can be gunners on punt return duty. Let's move to the losers. I got a couple losers from this game. Number one is just the depth at tackle. It didn't look good, guys. Jalen Moore and Khalil Benson did not inspire me. Moore had 7 snaps in this game, so not a lot of work. He gave up pressure on those 7 snaps. Jalen Moore, we already talked about Jalen Moore. Khalil Benson played a lot more, 25 snaps for him. He gave up a couple pressures as well. He also allowed a sack. It just like, you wanted more. You wanted to see more from Khalil Benson. All the good things we've heard out of training camp, everything we're seeing with him working with the first team. And I've talked about this before. You wanted it to be because Khalil Benson is blowing people away. You wanted it to be because Khalil Benson is the steal of the draft. Khalil Benson is an undrafted free agent who might be a franchise tackle. That's what you want the narrative to be. But the narrative is increasingly, apparently, Jalen Moore is awful. And that's bad news. Because if Jalen Moore is just awful, then A, he's making a lot of money to be awful. He's making a lot of money to not very, very good at his job. And number 2, Khalil Benson may not actually be a steal. He may just be better than Jalen Moore sometimes. And if that's the case, then what you have is a gigantic problem at right tackle. Because it doesn't seem like you trust anybody. Instead of having 2 guys that you potentially trust in Jalen Moore and this rising rookie in Khalil Benson, now it increasingly feels like the reality of this Chiefs offensive line at right tackle is nobody has any idea who's the best choice because none of them feel like good choices. And that's a scary, scary thought. Coming off of a year where Patrick Mahomes dealt with an ACL tear, that scares the pants off of me. You know what I mean? It absolutely does. I think it should scare the pants off everybody. Like, that's not... It's one of the most important positions in football, regardless of what your quarterback is going through. But in a year where you know your quarterback is going to need a little extra help early on this season, not going to be as mobile as probably he usually is early on this season, not going to want to be as mobile as he usually is early on this season, don't want him taking hits early on this season, especially low. What do you have at right tackle? I think increasingly the answer is you don't know. I think increasingly the answer is you have no idea what you have at right tackle or who truly is the best option because, again, are any of them good options? And that's a scary thought. Next up, I want to talk about Harrison Butker. We could have probably had Butker as a winner on this game, and you also could have him as a loser. I think like you can make arguments in either direction here with Harrison Butker. Because, like, he goes out there and drills a 69-yarder. You probably saw it on socials, even if you didn't watch this game. 75 was good from 75, too. Would have been an NFL record if it was in a real game. It felt like for a flash. He also had 3 other field goals made up until that point. It felt like for a flash, Harrison Butker had turned his swag back on. You know what I mean? Like, he'd gone out there and just the guy we saw last season was gone. He was right back to normal. Harrison Butker looked like Harrison Butker again for a second. And then Jared Wiley commits a hold. Bad. Backs the point after up. Misses it. Oh, no. And now we're back into this cycle. Because then you get a 49-yarder to win this thing, and you miss it. And the reality of kicking in the NFL today is that 49-yarders, you got to have it. You got to have it. Like, the more we see Harrison miss from within 50, the less your confidence goes. But at the same time, he hits from 69. So it's like, you know he's capable of it. You know he can. We've seen him do this his entire career. And for a flash there, it felt like, oh, he's back. 69-yarder. There it is. But then, it's gone. Just as quick as it came back. We're missing point afters. We're missing a 49-yarder. That's 20 yards less. Like, the logic isn't there. But that's where kicking is truly 80 to 90% mental. And I really think the holding penalty that Jared Wiley took just threw him off. I think it threw him off again. And it's like, how long will that last? Are we back in the yips phase? Because we can't be back in the yips phase. We got to get rid of it as fast as humanly possible. He has to flush this one as fast as humanly possible. The 69-yarder was great, but the two misses are just as bad. I mean, you make either of those kicks, this game is a tie or a win. You make them both, it's not even close. Like, the reality of that is, and I don't want to say Harrison Butker lost you this game because there's a number of things that you did wrong that ultimately lost you this game, but you had a chance to win it, and you miss a kick you have to have. That doesn't make him a winner in my book. I've seen him on the winner list for a couple of people. I don't agree. I don't think you can call Harrison Butker a winner from this game. I don't think he can call himself a winner from this game. Lastly, Justin Fields. And I know, I'm kind of gaining a little bit of a reputation as a Justin Fields hater, and I don't want that to be the narrative. But at the same time, Justin Fields has got to start showing something that looks like a veteran quarterback in the NFL. And taking a 20-yard sack on the 7-yard line is anything but. There is no excuse. There is no words for that kind of quarterback play. That's like the definition of negative quarterbacking to the nth degree. That's unacceptable. You cannot do it. I know it was just one play, but it is one play that can never happen. You cannot take a sack for a loss of 20 yards because you're trying to make something happen. You've got to learn the play is dead. Like, especially when your kicker misses from 49 sometimes. That's a play that can take you out of field goal range or force a missed kick. It's just as bad, in fact, it's actually much worse, in my opinion, than the hold that Jared Wiley had. Except, instead of being a tight end who has a couple years in this league and has dealt with a lot of injuries, you're Justin Fields, a former first-round draft pick, someone who was supposed to be something pretty special in this league and has shown time and time again, he just isn't that guy. Like, his processing is not good. He does not see the field well. He is not confident in his arm. And then he goes and tries to make things like this happen. And his overconfidence in his legs and his ability to try to make plays leads to negative 20-yard sacks. Like, it's unacceptable. It cannot happen. I've said it before. I'll say it again. There's no excuse for a play like that. And it cannot happen in the red zone. It cannot happen, period. I think Garrett Nussmeier continues to outperform him. I don't think Andy Reid would actually give the keys to Garrett Nussmeier as QB2 because that's the way Andy Reid goes. He likes experienced guys. But the reality of it is, experience be damned here. Justin Fields doesn't look like a quarterback too. Justin Fields does not look like an NFL quarterback to me right now. He doesn't show me a lot that inspires me. Garrett Nussmeier's not blowing me away either, but he's certainly looking better than that. That's going to wrap it up for my winners and losers from Chiefs versus Bucks. The Chiefs go down 16-15. Make sure you are subscribed if you want more Chiefs news and rumors all season long. We will be here covering them. We'll have our first watch party next week watching the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Seattle Seahawks, so don't miss it. I'll see you guys then.